Hi, hello, welcome to Spell Day. We're covering a spell every single day of the year from the 5e PHB +3. Those +3 spells are homebrew spells. We're at +2 at the moment. You can head back in the playlist to find them. Today's spell is Thaumaturgy.
I am Frau Blucher.
Transmutation cantrip, casting time of 1 action, range of 30 feet, components verbal, duration up to 1 minute. You manifest a minor wonder, a sign of supernatural power within range. You create one of the following magical effects within range. Your voice booms up to 3 times as loud as normal for 1 minute. You cause flames to flicker, brighten, dim, or change color for 1 minute. You cause harmless tremors in the ground for 1 minute. You create an instantaneous sound that originates from a point of your choice within range, such as a rumble of thunder, the cry of a raven, or an ominous whisper. Or whispers. You instantaneously cause an unlocked door or window to fly open or slam shut. You alter the appearance of your eyes for 1 minute. If you cast this spell multiple times, you can have up to 3 of its 1 minute effects active at a time. You can dismiss such an effect as an action. It's the cinematic spell. Prestidigitation as well is the magic spell. This is also a magic spell, where it's just a combination of effects and various things associated with magical phenomena and supernatural things. But whereas prestidigitation is what you imagine the wizard is using in his office space, when it's Thaumaturgy, this is the scary evil mage having thunderous lightning in the background every time their name's mentioned. You can still find a few practical uses, surprisingly, but what this is mainly being used for when picked up by any character, both player and NPC, is the presentation. But no, being in like some random commoner village on a farming community somewhere, and then like the local priest walks up, and when they're giving their sermon to talk about the unbelievers in the region, there's booming lightning in the background, their eyes have gone this bright glow, and their voice is booming across the entire village. I'd be a little worried. Not to mention, theoretically, because they last for 1 minute and not concentration, you can just say your character is consistently having this cast or re-affected in the background, especially since it's only verbal. No somatic or material, it's just something you're saying. So it's easier just to have this as just a modifier for how your character appears. And NPC-wise as well. I mean, you could have an entire character that's whole shtick is that they always have the booming voice. Whether they want to be annoying, whether they believe it's because they've been granting this power, they must use it, I don't know. But since Cleric can pick this up, it's probably going to be used in church sermons, or grand masses. I mean, we're already using that with microphones, speakers, megaphones, etc. Things to amplify. Oh, even the church structure itself, and where the altar is placed usually, is to project the voice. So having magic that can do it 3 times as loud, meaning if you're yelling or having anything else that already amplifies it, that only is multiplied further. So, in some fun note, this allows for people to... how to put it? Because usually when you're building a church larger and larger and larger, especially without modern tech of, speakers, microphones, it's really hard to hear whoever's on the altar. With this spell, you can have just massive gothic mega churches somewhere in a medieval setting, and it's still practical. The one preacher all the way at the altar, maybe a mile away depending on how it's built, can still be heard clearly. Oh, woe to the people in the front rows though. Imagine an interrogation, right, or like an inquisitor up in your face and just shouting at you with 3 times. Like, honestly, there's an argument, I don't know, some flavor-wise in a one-shot, Thaumaturgy and that booming voice was used in a melee. They argued like, oh yeah, I'll make an attack roll to grapple so I can get next to their head and then yell with Thaumaturgy and do thunder damage. It still did the same amount of damage as punching them would have. But just flavor. That was a fun one-shot. I mean, the rest of these effects as well. Brief tremors, harmless. They don't actually knock anything over or people over, but feeling the ground around you shake, up to 30 feet, by the way, around you. There's a 30-foot radius around you that is tremoring, because you do have, this spell does have a limit, which I guess then argues, are you modifying yourself? Because it's transmutation, so are you modifying the voice that comes out of you? And then just in that area, it's amplified? Because I think the range is just for the doors and the tremor effect. The voice, at least when I usually see the voice used to make its full use, it's like a megaphone. Help being used in army, choirs, military, masses. There's dividers in between those words. Those aren't all the same thing, unless you make them. But no, this allows for a lot of modern day speaker systems. Oh, even if without the Cleric, picking up Arcane Initiate just for this feat, so generals and captains on a battlefield can yell out orders much farther. With this, a battlefield might be an utter cacophony of ear-bleeding proportions. But yes, the other effects before we just get stuck in this one. We already did get stuck. Tremors, we already touched on. Flames. this can actually have some more mechanical implications. So you can't put them out or ignite them like you can with prestidigitation. This one, they just cause them to flicker. Alright, that's just an aesthetic thing. Change color, also just an aesthetic thing. However, the brighten or dim. So brighten, if we're following with control flame, doubles the light that is providing. And dim halves it. While it's only a 30-foot range, it lasts for 1 minute, so once you get within that 30-foot range, you can weaken someone's torch. Though it'd probably be better just to put it out, like with prestidigitation, though that's even closer range. But 30 feet away, being able to dim someone's torch, there goes a lot of your bright light around you. Or on your own torch, or group of torches, being able to double the radius of that light. To be fair, it doesn't strictly provide that explanation. It does in other spells that also say brighten or dim. So when it comes to that same mechanic in Thaumaturgy, it's up to DM. Read aloud as such, gives another use outside of just the voice booming. Also, still cool effect of just having, like, candles all over your character and then Death Cleric covered in blue flames. Also, the fact you can just have a sound effect in, like, the cry of ravens, a crack of thunder, or just a group of ominous whispers. Fantastic! Has anyone seen Dr. Frankenstein? Every time that character, oh god, what was her name? I mean, this allows for all the tropes of just having a booming of lightning, or whispers, or cry of angels behind you when saying something, or an NPC, villain, or otherwise. Unlocked door or window to fly open or slam shut. It is loud, but not as loud as knock. And it already has to be unlocked, though. Doesn't say how loud, though. And I could see some mechanical uses for this, like people are running to an already open door to then try and rush through, and then you close it. Because that's the thing, is it doesn't just say specific kind of door. Sure, it says door, but it doesn't specify size. A massive, super thick, like 4 inches thick gate on hinges. Yeah, that still closes in 1 turn with Thaumaturgy. Or opens. Now, if they're locked or blocked in some way, they won't, but the things that already still take potentially multiple turns to open or push aside, or at least difficult, being able to then force that immediately open or immediately close, not that bad. And then again, effects. And then the appearance of the eyes. This has been used to various effects in my games, but in short, it's usually the one big solid, like bright lights, or just pitch blackness, or making it look like a cat. Just creepy things. Trying to aid and intimidate, just something for the character. That one probably has, alongside Tremors, probably has the least mechanical benefit, especially since it's only something directly affecting you. But up to your creativity. Who knows? 6 out of 10. So, reason for that. It's niche already. Again, it's an effects cantrip, but prestidigitation has a lot more practical implications. This doesn't have that many practical implications, but the few it does have, namely in the sense if brighten and dim is ruled in its favor, and then the multiplying your voice by 3, if that stretches further than 30 foot, which I rule it that it does, that can be used to great effect. It's basically a megaphone or speaker or amplifier in fantasy Renaissance times. Not bad. But yeah, over other cantrips, it's up to the character. It's definitely a flavor pick. But yeah, 6 out of 10.